Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Adam. If you've never been here, we're going EV shopping. Let's shop for some EVs. First, let's deal with Audi. This one jumps out at me, $58,670 for an e-tron. That's pretty cheap. We're looking at 226 miles of range, 57 days on the site. The price has been decreased by $15,000. If you guys are interested in that e-tron, which is in Sacramento, not a bad deal. Doesn't look like any other special ones on there. Let's move on to the Q4 e-tron. These are looking like they're landing right around 57, 58, so 60 and change out the door. Let's look at one of these. All right, the first one, it's definitely at a reputable dealership because they're sponsoring one. An ID4 clone, if you will, 236 miles of range. This one has been on the site for 60 days. That's going to be a theme here. $67,000 for a Sportback. Sportbacks, I guess, are a little bit more rare, but I don't know if they're rare enough to warrant $67,000. The e-tron GT, 100 and change. It looks like up to 120. There are some available in my area. On to the BMW i4. These are right around that same price range, 55, 60,000. This one's 59, 300 miles of range. It's been on the site for 70 days. The site does let us know that the i4 is a slow seller. This is a front-wheel drive, so not all-wheel drive, if that's a deal breaker. Let's look at the i7. I'm sure these prices will be low. Just as I suspected, 124,000 and up. This one looks like it actually exists. You got to watch with some of these sites. They just put an ad up to get you to call or show up at the dealership, and sometimes they just want your information, so you got to look for ones with real photos. This one is 124 days on the site. That's a long time. Nobody has saved it. The bad thing here is that they don't even want to tell you what the price is. So they're not really in a hurry to sell this car. If they were, they would let you know what the price was. The BMW iX, 91,000, 85,000, 91,000. Some of these are just stock photos. We do have a couple here that look like they're on the lot. Here's another one from that same site, 79 days on the site. Laurel BMW. This is the xDrive 50 in white. I really do like the white on the iX. The color of the interior is either going to make or break you. It's kind of a hate-love thing, I would guess. Got the crystal scroller, 324 miles of range. Not bad. Okay, Cadillac Lyriq. These don't exist. They're very tough to find. And as we can see here, 3 of the 5 on the first page don't exist yet. This one looks like it might be at a reputable place. Let's see. Is it at a real dealership? 312 miles of range. It is. Atlantic City, New Jersey. It looks like, if you want a Cadillac Lyriq, looks like New Jersey is the place right now. 61,962. It's the only one that has an actual photo, and even that one looks like it's a stock photo, and there's not any extra photos of it. So Cadillac Lyriq, notoriously hard to find. The Chevy Bolt EUV, in my area, there is one. It's $32,198. It's the LT. This is a good-looking car, and for the money, you can't beat it. 247 miles of range. But there's only one in my area, so we got to move on to the Bolt EV. Also extremely low stock. People are starting to realize these are going away, and it may be the cheapest EV they may ever be able to get, at least anytime in the near future. Gray Ghost Metallic is the color, not that green that's in the stock photo. It looks like all these photos are stock photos. 259 miles of range. Hot seller, it does admit that. This one's been on the site 21 days. So getting a base model Bolt and then getting a tax credit, it's kind of out the window. No Chrysler, no Dodge, no Fiat, but Ford definitely makes some EVs. Let's look at the e-Transit. We've got some choices. I know the dealership in my town actually has 2 on the lot, a tall one and a low roof. Let's look at this one right here from Loudon Motors. It does have a markup listed at 62. Maybe that's why it's been on the site for 260 days. This is a long one with a low roof, the 350. You could do a lot of stuff with that van in Minerva, Ohio. On to the one probably everyone's wanting to know about, the Mustang Mach-E. Let's take a look at some of those. This is where the Tesla price changes have definitely made an effect. 76 days on the site for this one. This is a GT, but there are a lot of Mach-E's right now. Price went down $1,990. Here's one in the lower price category, 161 days on the site. Wow. Price has been decreased by $3,000. That's almost the other half of that tax credit you miss out on. It's not a bad deal. That was a select. We've got some Mach-E premiums. Let's check this one out. 55,000 in Pennsylvania. 35 days on the site. Looks like a fair price for this one is in the upper 40s. This one's pretty well equipped as well. Here we go. Here's a premium for $63,126. That's tough to justify when a long-range Model Y is $49,000 and gets a full tax credit. On to the F-150 Lightning. These were impossible to get a year ago, and now you can kind of take your pick. Let's look at this Pro Super Crew. $60,000, that's pretty low, but remember the Pro was supposed to be the $40,000 model. This is the smaller range battery, but it only has been on the site for 2 days. Looks like the price is average for the market, so Pros are going for $60. It also says it's not actually in stock, so these are all stock photos. Here's an XLT, 230 miles of range. This one's been on the site 28 days. Butler, New Jersey. This one has partially leather seats, partially cloth, no big screen. 70 grand for an XLT, wow. And then of course we got to look at the Platinum. Let's take a look in here. 22 days on the site. In Ohio, $98,339. I've seen a lot of these over 100 actually on other lots, so I guess it's not that terrible. If you want it all, this is it. And that's Ford. Let's move on to Genesis. The GV60 is pretty popular and pretty high luxury, but looks like on this site, they've got a whole bunch that are on the way, but not here yet. These could all be scams. They all are from Connecticut. No city specified, but just Connecticut. So there may be no GV60s available. So the GV60 probably not one you want to try to shop for and get a deal right now. And of course, the Hummer EV, they delivered 2 of these last quarter. Oh my goodness, there is a Hummer EV available. Ships from Illinois. It does have a legitimate dealership listed in the photo. It has been on the site for less than 48 hours, $115,876. Your Hummer EV is out there. If you need it, you have to have it. You and the other 3 people on Earth that got one, here it is for you. Next, we're moving on to Hyundai. Let's look for the Ioniq 5 first. There are a lot of Ioniq 5s available. Ooh, $39,000. Now, I may be tempted here. This could be a scam. They look like real photos, but the background's been removed. Sometimes that's a telltale that they're not actually real. 68 days on the site. Okay. Says it's selling slowly. Hard to believe at $39,000. This could definitely be a scam. They put a lot of information in there, but it does look like a price for this model is right around this number. That is a standard range, so going to be real low range on that. Let's look at one of these closer to the middle. This one's at number 1 Cochrane in Pittsburgh. Familiar with them. 172 days on the site. Wow. $47,280. So for the price of a Model Y, you can get that Ioniq 5. This one's been on the site 68 days and been reduced by almost $4,000. A lot of non-tax credit vehicles are going to suffer with that. Here's another SE, been on the site another 172 days and also been reduced by $3,750. What else we got? How about the Ioniq 6? A lot of coming soons, and looks like the real legit one here is the one with photos from number 1 Cochrane. Let's check it out. First, I'm going to hide all the ones that don't have a photo. Well, let's look at this one first, I guess. 52,525. This is an SEL with 270 miles of range. 32 days on the site. No verified dealer listed. The number 1 Cochrane model is an SEL in silver, kind of the same deal, just the silver color, 52,820. Not bad, but remember, it's a sedan, so you lose out on some of those SUV-type features. 270 miles of range for this one as well. It's been on the site 33 days at number 1 Cochrane. If you need an Ioniq 6, they are out there. How about a Kona? What can we get a Kona for? This one is kind of an outdated design. It's been the same for a while. $35,089. So it is less than a Model 3. This one is an SE model. I believe these also charge at 50 kilowatts. Looks like it goes up from there. Here's one for 42. This is a limited in Cumberland, Maryland. It's a little high priced. It's been on the site 166 days. Might be able to get a deal on that one. Upper 30s, low 40s for a Kona. And that's it for Hyundai. On to the I-Pace. Ah, yes, the Jaguar I-Pace. Here we go. We got one. Been on the site 14 days in Charleston, West Virginia. $82,450. They're not bad looking, but they're definitely not worth $82,450. The screen is antiquated. The features that look to be cool are kind of looking outdated at this point. That screen is embarrassing, really. 246 miles of range, so nothing crazy bad there, but charging speeds are low. This is like around 100 kilowatt charging. Kia, the EV6. Here's a Wind. Also, watch out for those stock photos. They all look the same. $53,395 for a Wind. That's not even a GT line, and it's been on the site 199 days. My goodness. So, EV6s definitely out there. I can vouch for that. My local Kia dealership has had more than 2 for a while now, including a GT. Doesn't look to be any GTs available right now on this site, but if we believe these are real and not scams, the GT line is going for anywhere between $55,000 and $60,000, which is way too much in the current market. Next, we got to look at the Niro EV. This is a sharp-looking car on the outside, but remember, Model 3s are going to be priced under this one for the most part. It's like these are low to mid 40s for your Niro EV. This is a 75, 77 kilowatt charging. So not a road tripper, but you can do it. It's adequate. They're not going to let you down. Whatever the max is, you're going to get somewhere near that when you plug in because it's not super hard on the charger. 144 days on the site. It does say 1,000 off MSRP. So right at 40, you can get a Niro EV. They had a Soul EV listed. I didn't even look it up because there aren't any anymore, especially new. How about a Lexus RZ? Is this real? There is a real Lexus RZ, which is a Toyota BZ4X with some cool appointments and a Lexus badge in Atlantic City. It looks like they actually have one. It actually has photos. It's not a bad looking vehicle, to be honest with you. Some of the highlights, well, 27 days on the site, so it hasn't sold super fast. Of course, that also means they could have sold it and it's gone. They did increase the price by $692, but that was your Lexus RZ. How about an MX-30? If you live in California, they're everywhere. This is probably more than they'll deliver in this entire quarter. The Mazda MX-30 floating around $35,000 for just under 100 miles of range. Really embarrassing. All of these are in California. Some of them are listed as in transit. It's been in transit for 29 days. That's pretty funny. A pure compliance car if there ever was one. On to Mercedes-Benz, which there are a lot of options here. The Mercedes EQB 250 rear-wheel drive is going to run you right around 60 grand, and it looks like there are some out there. If you're looking for them, there they are. $58,086 for a 250 plus, 62 days on the site in Charlottesville, Virginia. Next, on to the EQE. Looks like these go $85,000 and up. Here's a blue one, $90,281. 123 days on the site in Fort Washington, Pennsylvania. So that's your 350. Well, that's a nice color, isn't it? This definitely looks like an egg. They say the Model 3 looks like an egg. The Mercedes has it beat. 350 plus is $92,000. This one is 117 days on the site in Columbus, Georgia. I do like the wheels on this one. Delivery is available. No hyperscreen. So it looks like we got to go up before we get to the hyperscreen. How about an AMG 4MATIC? $114,218. Greensboro, North Carolina, 151 days on the site and only 225 miles of range for $114,218. All right, let's look at the EQE SUV. This one here, $80,400, 253 miles of range, only on the site 14 days in Washington, PA. This is a 350 4MATIC, so no hyperscreen, just a whole bunch of microscopic Mercedes logos. A lot of stock photos. Here's a 500 with the hyperscreen. Looks like the price bump is pretty big, $97,471. Here's one for 100 grand, another 500. And this one that looks to be a real one in Pittsburgh, 21 days on the site, has no price. It is a nice looking SUV. I like everything but the wheels, but EV wheels, you know? Next, let's take another drastic step upward and look at the EQS. Looks like these start over 100. This one is 136,000, 167 days on the site. Very pretty red color, and I really like these wheels. This one does have the hyperscreen, 340 miles of range. That's fairly significant. That's a lot of range. However, nothing an Ioniq 6 couldn't do. This is a 450, 114,595, 174 days on the site. I haven't sat in one of these. I would be interested to know how comfortable the seats are. Next, on to the EQS SUV. Got some 450s here in the $120,000 to $140,000 range. 57 days on the site, 265 miles of range. This is a 580, your top trim, 143,505. It does have the hyperscreen. Very beautiful white interior. While these are really, really nice looking SUVs and will probably drive and ride extremely well, the price is not really competitive. This one is $120,205. No hyperscreen. Also, the piano black loves the fingerprints. And that's your EQS SUV. No Mini SE available right now. Let's move on to the Nissan Leaf. if you're okay with low range, these are available and an excellent buy. But the 150 miles of range really does hurt a lot. 67 days on the site, and I'm sure it's because of the range. $28,757 in Pittsburgh at number 1 Cochrane. And then, of course, we have the CHAdeMO, a tough pill to swallow. Really not a road tripper at all. It looks like it does come with a charger, and we all know the Leaf is very practical with its hatchback. And if you're around town, a budget buy, really, can't go wrong with a Leaf. This one is a no compromises Leaf, $36,594, the SV Plus. This one would have the long range battery. I'm not sold on those wheels, but a decent looking car. 40 days on the site. Price has decreased by about $1,500. These run around 225 miles of range. This one's either going to shock you or you already know about it. The Nissan Ariya is not selling. There are more of these on Car Gurus than almost every other EV combined. 112 days on the site. I wouldn't go to that dealership. 2 out of 5. 216 miles of range. This is the base model Engage. $44,735. That's a lot of cubic footage for that price, but you could get an ID4 just the same. Here's one for $44,785. Another Engage. I do like the color. The front really feels roomy in the Ariya because there's nothing in your way down in the footwell. It's kind of crazy. Plenty of Engages available. Or we finally made it to another trim level. This one is the Evolve Plus, $47,474. That's a low price. Let's see why. 289 miles of range. That's better. 4,000 miles. There it was. The price has been lowered by $4,000, but it does have 4,159 miles on the clock. Looks like it's probably a demo. As suspected, the base price over $52,000. And I'm sure there'll be plenty more Evolve Pluses, obviously closer to that $50,000 mark. Here's a bunch more. $48,485 for this one. If you sit in one of these, you'll be impressed with the size and the comfort of the car. It really does stand out. If you compare it to an ID4 or a Mustang Mach-E, I'd say the comfort level is close to, if not a little better, than the Ioniq 5 and EV6. However, those feel a little more well-appointed. 304 miles of range on the Venture Plus. 49,019. 117 days on the site. But you know what? I've had enough of the Ariya. Let's move on. If you want an Ariya, you can get one. How about the Porsche Taycan? On a nationwide search on this site, there are no Porsche Taycans available. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't any. I'm just using Car Gurus because they seem to do a good job overall, and you don't have to deal with the user interfaces of 12 different sites like on Auto Tempest. So no Taycans at all. And before we go too far out of alphabetical order, let's look at Polestar, at their available cars on their website. I'll just use my location. So Polestar 2s can be very different depending on what options you pick. This one is a long-range dual-motor all-wheel drive, 260 miles of range. $54,450 and no tax credit on a Polestar. Here's a performance pack. Looks like that adds a very significant amount. $66,250. Another set of performance packs around the same price. Here is a single motor front wheel drive long range. It has 270 miles of range, $49,650. So looks like Polestar. Let's take a deeper dive. Mid to upper 60s for most of your Polestars, and there are some outliers that are going to lack either the all-wheel drive or the performance pack. And there's a couple other packages, kind of like the Fisker Ocean, that if you don't get, you really lose things like adaptive cruise and things like that. The Subaru Solterra. Let's take a gander. $50,000 for a limited all-wheel drive. This is a good-looking vehicle, but it only has 222 miles of range, and the charging's limited to about 100 kilowatts. 48 days on the site. Here's a white one. Premium all-wheel drive, $45,000. 69 days on the site at number 1 Cochrane of Butler County. Looks like the premium has 228 miles of range. Once again, not a bad-looking vehicle. I think it looks better than the Toyota because of the choice of wheels. But speaking of the Toyota, let's check out the BZ4X. $46,783. The story is very similar here between that and the Subaru. It's real convenient. They're in alphabetical order right beside each other. 35 days on the site. This one's in Indiana, PA. Here's an XLE for $46,758. Another one for $47,361. No frunk. Does have a charging cable. 275 miles of range. Okay, on to the ID4. A couple of the sponsored ones at the top, around 50,000. They're both Pro S rear-wheel drive. Let's keep on looking through here. Pro rear-wheel drive, 45,000. See, I think this is competitive with the Aria. 275 miles of range. I don't like the interior of the ID4 very much. More on that in another video. Here's another Pro S, 46,000 in Moon Township. And next, we got to look at the Teslas. All right, let's look at Tesla.com and see what they've got. Model Y. We've got Order Now, Demo Drive, and up here, we've got View Inventory. We're going to look at that since that's what we were looking at on Car Gurus. $57,990 for a long-range all-wheel drive. It looks like the better deal here is $48,990. This is a regular Model Y. The red one has the 7-seat interior, so that's the $9,000 difference. The red color is a $2,000 add-on. The induction wheels is another $2,000. The long range adds a couple thousand, and of course, the 7-seat interior. So that's that. $57,990 here is a 7-seat with a tow hitch. The red one did not have the tow hitch, but take the red away, add the tow hitch, you're at the same price. $58,490. This one has 7-seat interior and a tow hitch. It looks like that's just the difference between a Pittsburgh and a DC Model Y. And in my area, those are the only 4 Model Ys available. Let's check out the Model 3. All right, got some base models, $39,990. That's what I paid for mine in September of 21, so not bad at all. One's in Columbus, one's in Richmond. It looks to me like other than that, though, they are the same. More white standard ones, Cleveland, Harrisburg, Pittsburgh, DC, they're all the same. $39,990. $40,990 for a blue one and a silver one. Those are in Richmond as well. Here's a white on white right here. So for $40,990, looks like the selection is good for Model 3s. Let's go and check out the Model S. See what's going on there. $85,440. These are yoke steering wheels. These look like they could be demos. 538 miles on this one, 1,100 on the other. So here, okay, here's brand new ones. 2 black ones. One has the yoke, one does not. Looks like there's a $1,000 price difference because of that. Some more choice on the steering wheel with these white ones. 2 yoke steerings, one in Harrisburg, one in Pittsburgh. Got a blue and a black one. Blue with the steering wheel, black with the yoke. So looks like Model S inventory is also pretty healthy. And then finally, let's go to the Model X. $97,280. You can get one under $100,000. This one's got the yoke steering wheel and the tow package. $102,720. Both have the 6-seat interior. Here's a 5-seater, $101 with the tow package and 22-inch turbine wheels. These have the 20-inch Cyberstream. Some of these are, looks like could be demos. They all have a few miles. $110,000, 22-inch turbines, 6-seat tow package, yoke steering in black in Washington, D.C. Here's one with 83 miles, 106, 7-seat tow package, yoke steering. That's a nice configuration for the 7-seat. These are demos as well. More demo vehicles. So it looks like they are rolling over their demo vehicles. Here we go. Brand new ones, 20-inch, 5-seat tow package, $97,490. Here's a yoke steering 5-seat tow package, $97,740. Model X inventory also pretty plentiful at this time. So I hope that was fun and informative. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know down in the comments below. I've got a breakdown of pretty much every car on this list, plus a few others. That'll be here. And also you can check out my ranking of all these vehicles versus the Fisker Ocean with just a little bit of sarcasm, actually a ton. That one's here. Subscribe for more. We'll see you on the next one.
Hey! Smash the like button.
Thank you.